Scene opens with a wide expanse of the valley of Jezreel during sunrise. The birds are chirping, the morning light glimmers on the horizon. Narrator. Don't scroll. This is a reminder that your greatest strength might come from your perceived weaknesses. Let me tell you a Bible story you may have never seen like this. The story of Gideon. It's a story that proves God works in the most unexpected ways. Cut to Gideon, a humble yet apprehensive man, threshing wheat in a hidden wine press. Narrator. Meet Gideon, a man from the smallest clan in his tribe and the least in his family. Scared, anxious, barely surviving, he worked in a hidden wine press out of fear of the Midianites, a ruthless enemy who terrorized Israel. But God saw something in Gideon that Gideon didn't see in himself. Close-up shot of an angel appearing to Gideon. The angel shines against the ordinary setting, a peaceful yet powerful presence. Narrator. One day, an angel appeared and greeted him with words that must have sounded absolutely shocking. "The Lord is with you, mighty warrior." Gideon, being more doubtful than convinced, questioned, "If the Lord is with us, why has all this happened? Where are all his wonders they told us about?" Isn't it amazing how human doubt arises even when divine intervention appears? Gideon asked questions we'd all ask. The angel reassures Gideon, who still wears a look of incredulity. Narrator. But God didn't leave. He instructed, "Go in the strength you have and save Israel from Midian's hand." Here's a lesson. God doesn't wait for you to feel ready. He calls you in the middle of your fears, in the midst of your uncertainty. Scene of Gideon asking God for a sign by laying out fleece on the ground. Narrator. And yet, Gideon doubted. He asked for a sign. If you've ever asked God for confirmation, you're not alone. Gideon laid out fleece and asked for it to be wet with dew while the ground stayed dry. And God, he delivered. But Gideon wasn't done. He asked for the opposite next. And again, God fulfilled his request. Isn't it incredible? God's patience with us even when we're unsure speaks volumes about his love. Transition to Gideon leading thousands of men preparing for battle. Narrator. With newfound confidence, Gideon rounds up 32,000 men to face the Midianites. It might seem like a heroic feat, but hold on. God said, "You have too many men. I cannot deliver Midian into their hands, or Israel might boast that her own strength saved her." Imagine the shock. Scene of Gideon reluctantly sending away men. Narrator. God instructed Gideon to reduce the numbers. First, he told Gideon to send home anyone who was afraid. 22,000 soldiers left that day. Now only 10,000 remained. Transition to the river where men are drinking water. Narrator. But God wasn't finished. Next, he had Gideon take the remaining men to a river. Those who drank water with their hands to their mouths were kept. Those who knelt down were dismissed. The final count? Just 300 men. Can you imagine the pressure on Gideon? From thousands to 300. Yet this was the army God would use to defeat the Midianites. Scene of Gideon silently watching over his small army during the night, visibly nervous. Narrator. If you were Gideon, would you still have faith at this point? God knew Gideon was frightened, so he gave him one last reassurance. He sent Gideon to the enemy camp at night. As Gideon crept in, he overheard a Midianite soldier sharing a dream that foretold Gideon's victory. This was the final confirmation he needed. Scene of Gideon organizing his men in 3 groups, handing out trumpets, clay jars, and torches. Narrator. And now the strategy unfolds. Gideon armed his men with, well, not swords, not shields, but trumpets, jars, and torches. A strange choice for battle, right? But God's ways are higher than ours. Scene of the 300 men surrounding the enemy camp at night, torchlight flickering in the darkness. Narrator. Under the cover of night, the 300 men took their positions around the enemy camp. At Gideon's signal, they blew their trumpets, smashed their jars, and shouted, "For the Lord and for Gideon!" The glowing torches and the sudden noise startled the Midianites. In confusion, they turned on one another with their swords and fled. No army could have planned such a victory. Scene of victorious Israelites celebrating, joyful but tearful, at God's deliverance. Narrator. And just like that, God used 300 men to defeat an army as numerous as locusts. Gideon's journey is a powerful reminder. It's not about your ability, it's about your availability. Gideon learned that God's power is made perfect in weakness. So the question is, what is God calling you to, even in your weakness? Closing scene with Gideon reflecting under the bright stars, a humble yet hopeful smile on his face. Narrator. The story of Gideon shows us that when we trust in God, He does the impossible. He takes our doubts, our fears, and our weaknesses, and turns them into His glory. What will you allow God to do through you today? Outro displays the story of Gideon, strength in weakness, followed by hashtags /Bible, /Jesus, /God, /Jews, /Christian, /Christianity, /faith.